Hello and welcome. Ever wonder how far back our human story really goes? We often hear about key moments like the invention of agriculture or the rise of civilizations. But what if I told you that the journey to becoming human started much, much, much earlier? We're talking about a mind-boggling 8 million years ago. That's the starting point of our epic tale, a journey that transformed our ape-like ancestors into the people we are today. So let's rewind the clock. Way back, 8 million years ago, in the dense forests and sprawling savannas of Africa, a new chapter in life's book was beginning. This is where we find the earliest clues, the very first whispers of our lineage. Paleoanthropologists, the detectives of our deep past, are constantly piecing together this ancient puzzle. They study fossilized bones, ancient tools, and the very ground our ancestors walked on to understand how we evolved. One of the most defining moments in our history was when our ancestors decided to stand up. That literally. The shift to bipedalism, or walking on two legs, was a game changer. It wasn't an overnight switch. It was a gradual process that unfolded over millions of years. But why did it happen? One leading idea is that as Africa's climate changed and forests gave way to more open grasslands, standing up offered a huge advantage. It allowed our ancestors to see over tall grasses, spot predators from a distance, and free up their hands. Imagine what that meant. Suddenly, hands weren't just for climbing or balancing. They were free to carry food, to hold infants, and eventually to create tools. This simple act of standing upright set off a chain reaction of evolutionary innovations. It reshaped our pelvis, our spine, and our feet. Every step you take today is a testament to that ancient transition. It's a legacy written in our very bones, a direct link to those pioneers who first dared to walk tall on the African plains. As we move forward in time, the fossil record starts to get a little clearer. We begin to meet some of our famous ancient relatives. Think of names like Lucy, the famous Australopithecus afarensis who lived over 3 million years ago. Her skeleton provided undeniable proof that our ancestors were walking upright long before their brains started to get significantly bigger. For a long time, scientists thought big brains came first, but Lucy and other discoveries turned that idea on its head. It was our feet that led the way, not our heads. These early hominins weren't quite human as we'd recognize them, but they were undeniably on our branch of the evolutionary tree. They were a diverse bunch, with different species coexisting and exploring different ways of life. Some were more adapted to the forests, others to the open plains. It was a period of intense evolutionary experimentation. Nature was trying out different models, seeing which traits would stick. Then, around 2.5 million years ago, something incredible happened. Our ancestors started making tools. Not just using a handy rock to smash open a nut, but deliberately shaping stones to create sharp edges. This marks the beginning of the Stone Age and the rise of the genus Homo, our own genus. The ability to make tools represents a major cognitive leap. It required foresight, planning, and the skill to pass this knowledge down through generations. These tools opened up a whole new world of food sources, allowing our ancestors to butcher large animals and access nutrient-rich marrow from their bones. This extra protein and fat provided the fuel needed for a very energy-hungry organ, a growing brain. This is where we see the feedback loop kick in. Better tools led to better nutrition, which fueled brain growth. A bigger brain led to the development of even more sophisticated tools and complex social behaviors. This cycle propelled our evolution forward at an accelerating pace. We were no longer just reacting to our environment. We were starting to shape it, and shape it we did. Around 1.8 million years ago, our ancestors, likely Homo erectus, did something no hominin had done before. They walked out of Africa. This wasn't a single, organized migration. It was a slow, multi-generational spread across continents. Imagine small family groups pushing into new territories, following herds of animals, and adapting to new climates and challenges. They reached Asia and Europe, proving just how resilient and adaptable our lineage had become. They were the world's first true explorers. For hundreds of thousands of years, different species of humans populated the globe. In Europe and Asia, the Neanderthals thrived. They were intelligent, skilled hunters who created complex tools, cared for their sick and elderly, and may have even had their own form of symbolic expression. They weren't the brutish cavemen of popular myth. They were a successful and sophisticated branch of the human family. But while the Neanderthals were ruling Eurasia, another story was unfolding back in Africa. Around 300,000 years ago, a new species emerged, Homo sapiens, us, anatomically modern humans. Our skeletons look pretty much identical to theirs. For a long time, we coexisted with other human species, including the Neanderthals. The world was a much more diverse place in terms of humanity than it is today. So what made us different? What allowed Homo sapiens to eventually become the only human species left on the planet? The answer is likely complex and tied to our unique cognitive abilities. We developed language, art, and an unparalleled capacity for symbolic thought and social cooperation. We could share complex ideas, organize in large groups, and innovate at an astonishing rate. This cultural and cognitive explosion is what paleoanthropologists call the Great Leap Forward. We see it in the archaeological record with the appearance of sophisticated cave paintings, intricate personal ornaments, and advanced hunting technologies like the spear thrower. We weren't just surviving, we were creating culture. We were telling stories, building identities, and connecting with each other in ways no species had before. Armed with these new abilities, modern humans began their own great migration out of Africa, starting around 60,000 years ago. As they spread across the globe, they encountered the other human populations like the Neanderthals. The exact nature of these encounters is still debated, but genetic evidence shows that there was some interbreeding. Many people today with ancestry outside of Africa carry a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA in their genome, a ghost of these ancient interactions. Ultimately, however, our species proved to be uniquely successful. Whether through competition for resources, better adaptation, or a combination of factors, Homo sapiens eventually replaced all other hominin forms. By around 40,000 years ago, we were the last humans standing. Our journey wasn't over, though. The end of the last ice age, around 11,700 years ago, ushered in a new geological epoch called the Holocene. The climate became more stable and warmer, creating the perfect conditions for another revolutionary change, the invention of agriculture. Instead of hunting and gathering, humans began to domesticate plants and animals. This led to permanent settlements, the growth of villages into cities, and the birth of civilization. This is the period of human history we are most familiar with, but it's just the very tip of a very, very large iceberg. Think about it. For over 99% of our 8 million year journey, we were hunters and gatherers living in small mobile groups. The entire history of cities, writing, and empires is just a tiny sliver at the very end of our timeline. It puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Everything that makes us who we are today, our bodies, our brains, our innate curiosity, our drive to connect with others, was forged over millions of years of evolution. Our ancestral roots run incredibly deep. The story of human evolution is a sprawling epic of survival, innovation, and adaptation. It's a journey from the forests of Africa to every corner of the globe. From learning to walk on 2 feet to reaching for the stars. It's a story that's still being written, with new fossils and new discoveries constantly adding new chapters and challenging what we thought we knew. So the next time you look in the mirror, remember the incredible journey that led to you. You are the result of 8 million years of evolution. You carry the legacy of every ancestor who walked before you, from the first hominin who stood up tall to the first human who painted on a cave wall. It's a powerful and humbling thought. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through our deep past. If you found this as fascinating as I do, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more explorations into our amazing world. See you next time.